You are not normal. You like to do things differently. You like to step away from the norm, which is why you are not gonna buy a boring German sports sedan. Instead, you're gonna buy this thing, a Hyundai Genesis G70 2-liter turbo. Ever heard of it? I haven't. I'm a Speedy Guidi, and you're watching a Speedy review. Let's see how she drives. Before we go any further, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I put so much time into these videos. It would really help if you just clicked a button. You're sitting on a couch, just do it. Thank you.
Okay, really quick history lesson on Genesis, because many of you may have no idea that this car even exists. Genesis is the luxury division of Hyundai, like Lexus is to Toyota or Infiniti to Nissan. Hyundai made a model named Genesis for some years before its brand breakoff in 2008. Since then, various sedans have debuted, including this GV80 SUV, which was styled by the same dude who did the Bentley Bentayga. Pretty slick stuff, no?
And we're off in the G70 2-liter turbo. Guys, what can I tell you about this car? Well, it drives very similarly to all the other German sports sedans on the market, which is a very good thing because that is exactly at what this car is aimed at. It's trying to undercut all of them for a better price with the same amount of quality. Can it do it? Let's find out. So this car isn't the last word in performance. It makes 252 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, which is fine. It's a 2-liter inline turbo. And you know what? It has enough grunt. I know the people that buy this car aren't going to be chucking around Angel's Crest like I am right now, but you know, it handles. It does well. It has enough punch for every day. It's perfect for your mom, for your kid, whoever you're going to buy it for. It's just fine. From the driver's seat, how I'm driving, it inspires enough confidence. I can really chuck it around a corner. You know, I can kind of feel what the front wheels are doing. The steering's kind of light and kind of numb, but so is everything nowadays. The paddle shifters, quick to respond. The only problem I have is that though, there is no manual mode. So you put it into manual mode by activating the paddle shifters, and then after about a minute, it'll go straight back to drive. So if you are trying to go into performance driving, it won't hold a gear for you if you wanted to. The way to fix that though, is to go into the drive modes down here, in which they have Smart, Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Custom. Sport does obviously what you think it does. It firms up the suspension a little bit, it tightens up the steering, it makes the throttle mapping a little more aggressive, but it's very minimal, nothing that you'll actually really notice when driving. The one thing that it does do though, is change the dials to red, because you know what that means. It means sport and death, which is cool. It's funny that automakers need to make these little gimmicks and change the colors and, you know, stimulate people with all these fancy lights and all this stuff just to make people excited about going into sport mode. Like, who cares, man? Once you get out of sport though, then you're in comfort mode, which is just the normal mode here. And then you go into eco, which, you know, puts you in the highest gear possible. It allows you to really cruise and uses very, very minimal gas. And then we have smart mode, which I don't know what that means. Maybe it's because I'm not smart. Fuel economy is pretty average. I have averaged around 20 miles per gallon. When driving quickly up Angel's Crest, I was getting 15 miles per gallon. Not bad when you're absolutely pinning it into corners. That is awesome. You know what else is awesome? Is the interior. Let's step outside, take a closer look at it, because guess what? The interior is what's going to separate someone from buying a 3 Series or this thing.
Here we are, inside the interior.
I am pleased to say, what a nice layout. Wow. It has buttons, guys, buttons, oh my God. I didn't think we'd ever be at a point where I get off to buttons. Buttons.
They're there. They don't leave finger marks. They're buttons. They feel great. And look at the climate control, guys. It turns in such a nice feeling. But the buttons, oh, it's great in here. We got actual dials for the rev counter and speedo. We got very easily laid out buttons on the steering wheel. Everything's exactly where we want it to be. This 8-inch touchscreen is clear enough. It's great. I can definitely see why someone would get one. There are certain buttons and materials in here that feel great. The windows, great. The shifter, great. Climate control, the buttons feel okay, but the execution's not really there. They jiggle around. You got some weird plastics. You got some scratchy plastics down here. But you know what? They got to cut some corners somewhere. This thing is a very cheap entry-level car. Also, the seats are very comfortable. This leather is sumptuous. You know what? To be completely honest, I don't even know what sumptuous means. I just hear it in car reviews, so I say it too to sound smart. But it's nice. And look at this perforated leather right here. Oh, feels good. This is just plastic, which isn't great, but the steering wheel feels good in your hands. It's it's thin. I like thin. The paddle shifters don't feel like a PlayStation. There's plenty of storage in here too. You got glove compartment, you got side pockets over here for your sanitizers. When this whole thing's over, I'm never touching sanitizer ever again, mark my words. And you got 2 cup holders over here. That can fit the bottle of Pellegrino. Forse anche due. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so really nice feature this thing has that you only get in $50,000 plus cars is it has a comfort exit. So turn the car off, open the door. Look, the steering wheel floats away from me. I move away from it to allow for an easier egress? Egress, I think the word is? Yeah, it makes for an easier egress. Check it out. So easy. There is also a ton of storage space. Check it out. Holds, I don't even know how many liters. Does anybody even know what that means? I don't. Rear leg room. Ain't so bad. I'm about 3 inches above me. And my knees kind of hit the front. I'm 5'10", I'm kind of shortish. And short-ish, is that even a word? Who cares? It's nice back here though. You know, I can hit my head on this. There's a nice little center console to put my drinks at. Wouldn't want to stay back here too long, but it's nice.
Let's see how she launches. Oh, it says launch control active. Oh my God, it actually has a launch control? Pretty good, Genesis. Pretty good, Hyundai. We're flying now. Brakes, they're okay. This car is not on the performance Michelin tires. You don't expect it to be. They're just fine. They're all seasons or whatever the heck they are. Who cares? There's a fair amount of confidence. I'm chucking it into corners. There is a little bit of liftoff oversteer, just like the tiniest bit to kind of kick you out a little bit, and it's decently fun. I woke up this morning. I knew nothing about this car. I jumped in. I just hopped on the freeway. It was very comfortable. It was great. It was just great. It did what it had to do. And then I got it here, flipped into sport mode, and just started chucking it without having any idea how fast it was or anything. And it just did it. I felt comfortable doing it, which is very good in a sports sedan. Like I said, the steering is a little numb. It doesn't really have the punch that you need up here in Angeles Crest, which is to be expected. But wow, this thing can hustle, man. I'm surprised. I have to admit, I have not driven the new 3 Series, or the new A4, or the new C-Class. So I am not an authority about how this drives, but I can tell you right now that I get to drive a lot of really fun sports cars. I really do. And this is not so bad. That is high praise. I'm going 80 miles an hour, about to chuck it into this corner. All right, brake. Let's get a little downshifts. I think it's got the chops. At $35,000 starting, this really, it could stick it to the Germans, man. It could stick it to the Germans.
So is the Genesis 2-liter good value for money? Of course. Would I buy one? Absolutely not. What are you, crazy? I want something with 2 doors, a manual transmission, and 500 horsepower. They don't call me Speedy for nothing. But in all seriousness, I love this car because it's unique and different. Some may think it's weird, but you know what I always say? If you're not weird, you're weird. Now, if you don't mind, I got some driving to do.